Good morning and welcome. Is it on? Just a public announcement before I start. There's a couple of, if you wanted to leave a message for one of our seniors, there's a couple of different cards out there that you can fill out. One is your congratulation wishes. And the other is advice for a graduate. Y'all can hear me, right, if I move away from that sign? What is it here? Okay, he's adjusting it. That is a choir mic. Well, no, he's adjusting it. He's adjusting it. We're good. Okay, welcome to everyone. And we're so happy and excited to be celebrating our seniors this year. Always a pleasure. Two of you, my two guys that are up here, I know you need to know that I've known you since the day you were born. That's how old I'm getting. And Gracie, it's such a pleasure to get to know you too. Welcome to our church family. As we look across the front and we see the beautiful flowers, let's imagine that as a garden of life. And today to our seniors, I echo the phrase, bloom where you're planted. By that I mean to make the best of the circumstances you find yourself in, to grow and contribute positively no matter the environment you find yourself in. It's about flourishing spiritually, emotionally, and physically, drawing from an inner wellspring of faith and resilience, even when your external conditions are less than ideal. I'm not talking about just make and do. It's about transformation and growth phase that you've entered. It echoes the biblical principle found in Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. This verse reassures us that regardless of our present circumstances, God has a grand design for our lives. It's a reminder that our current situation is not our final destination. However, the reality of blooming where we're planted can be daunting at times in life. Life often throws us into situations we feel ill-equipped to handle. Whether it's a job we didn't choose, a place we wouldn't have moved to on our own, or a season of life that might be marked by trials and uncertainty. The call to thrive in these conditions may sometimes for you seem like a tall order. Yes, the essence of this phrase isn't about blind optimism, but about a deep-seated faith that God uses our circumstances for our growth and His glory. Philippians 4:11 through 13 speaks to this resilience. Not that I speak from want, for I have learned to be content in whatever circumstance I am. I can do all things through Him that strengthens me. And that's my life verse. I wear it on my hand every day. And you don't have to wear it on your hand, but at least wear it in your heart, that God will be with you and He will equip you to do whatever He sends for you to do. The Bible is replete with stories of individuals who thrive despite adversity, amplifying the essence of blooming where you're planted. Their lives offer valuable lessons on resilience, faith, and the power of God's guidance in our growth journey. Think about Joseph. He was sold into slavery by his own brothers. Joseph's story was detailed in Genesis 37 through 50 and is a profound example of blooming in adversity. Despite being wrongfully imprisoned, Joseph rose to become the second most powerful man in Egypt, saving countless lives during a famine. His faith in God's plan articulated in Genesis 50:20. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Underscores the belief that our circumstances, however dire at times, can be used by God for a greater purpose. Can I turn that off? Okay. Then let's think about Esther, a Jewish orphan girl who became queen of Persia. She faced a daunting challenge of saving her people from genocide. Her courage and faith culminating in the statement, if I perish in Esther 4:16. They highlight the significance of standing firm in one's faith and purpose. Even in the face of life-threatening danger, Esther bloomed in a foreign land, using her position to effect God's deliverance for her people. And then I thought of Daniel. Daniel's unwavering commitment to his faith, even when faced with death for praying to God in Daniel 6, is a powerful statement to the strength of conviction. His ability to maintain his faith practices, rise to prominence in a foreign empire, and influence kings demonstrates that blooming where planted often requires a steadfast faith and integrity. To our seniors, these stories, among many others in the Bible, illustrate that while our environments may be challenging, they are fertile ground for demonstrating faith, character, and God's power at work in our lives. They teach us that blooming is not merely an outward success, but about spiritual growth and fulfilling God's purpose for our lives. This is what I will be praying over each of you in the coming years. Bloom where God plants you. At this time, I'm going to ask Sam to lead in our prayer for our seniors.
Heavenly Father, we'd like to thank you today, dear God, for each and every one of these seniors today that we're recognizing. Dear God, we ask that you help them as they go through life. It's a new chapter in life, dear God, and we ask you to bless them, guide them, lead them, dear God, and each and everything they do. Dear God, bless us now as we go through the rest of this service, which in your name we pray. Amen.
We're going to ask Aaron to come stand right here and Mike to come and speak on his behalf, after which the preacher will present his Bible and gift.
In trouble now. Phew. Y'all bear with me because it's not a pleasant day for me physically, but at the same time it is emotionally and spiritually. Reflecting back on Aaron as a little boy, growing up, you know, he was never selfish at all. But one thing, no matter where we were, I'll remember one time specifically we were in Walmart. And of course in the fishing section, if that surprises anybody. But we were standing there and he wanted a little tackle box. I said, well, go ahead and get it. Well, he comes back with 2. Now, guess why he wanted 2? Kai. Throughout the years, I have watched him grow. I'm sorry, I can't hardly do it. And become the young man that he is today. I've encouraged him to look at the Bible, to read it, try to understand it. And he comes to me with questions that I've tried to answer. And believe it or not, I've done the best I could to answer what he had inquired about. And, you know, going back and looking at Aaron's life all the way through, watching him grow, knowing that I was a part of him as far as the family goes. But anyway, I don't only see me and Michelle in him, but I see a lot of Sid and Larry. He has never let me down, and I don't think he ever will. But anyway, y'all pray for me because I've got a lot going on physically and it's not good. But at the same time, he is one outstanding young man. I can promise you that. In every way you can imagine. I love him. Tremendously. Thank you, buddy. I love you, man.
Love you too.
God bless you. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have the pleasure of introducing Gracie Neely. We're so thankful that God's placed her in our lives. She is a proud graduate of Georgetown High School, class of 2024. Throughout her high school career, Gracie has demonstrated exceptional academic performance and leadership. She's excelled academically, earning her academic letter with highest honors and graduated in the top 10 of her class. It's out there in the vestibule on the table. She's a member of the National Honor Society and has received numerous academic awards, including completion of the health science program, and received a CTE medal, and she has displayed it there along with all her cores. She also received an academic distinction scholarship to attend Francis Marion University in Florence. Beyond her academic accomplishments, Gracie has been actively involved in a variety of extracurricular activities. She was president of Science National Honor Society, vice president of the Student Council, historian of the National Honor Society, a member of Mu Alpha Theta, which is a math National Honor Society, and also president of HOSA. She plans to attend Francis Marion University in the fall, where she'll major in healthcare administration and minor in business. Her faith in God and her hard work and dedication have prepared her well for the next chapter of her educational journey, and we know that her future holds great things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Orby's comments this morning are so appropriate when I think about Creighton because he's not here today. Bloom where you're planted. I'm so proud that he has found a place in a church in Myrtle Beach, and he has responsibilities there that have prevented him from being here today, but we still want to honor him, and we appreciate you guys letting us do that today, even though he couldn't be here. So when he was in 6th grade, he came to me and he said, "Mama," he said, "I don't like public school." He said, there are too many distractions, there's too many mean people. He has a very sensitive soul. He's always been a deep thinker. He's always been very tender-hearted, and he's always stood up for the little guy. And for that, I'm very proud. He asked me if I would homeschool him, and so I did. It meant adjusting some things around our household. It meant having a different level of dedication than just driving him to school every day. So for anyone who is contemplating homeschooling your child, you will not regret it. I can tell you that during his homeschooling years, he has really bloomed where he was planted. He has grown into a kind, loving, Bible-believing child man who is, he amazes me every day with his beliefs. During his homeschooling years, his favorite subject was always Bible, and he learned so much. During his homeschooling years, he was also able to pursue his love of music, and he is amazing. So I appreciate the opportunity to recognize him today. He has high aspirations, probably in the ministry field.
All right.
And he is an amazing young man, and we thank you for all of the influence that you have had on his lives. His grandmother goes to church here. My grandmother came to church here. This church has deep roots in our family. Pastor Mark baptized Creighton on September 8th, I believe it was last year. So I'm sorry that he wasn't able to be here today, but he is here in spirit, and I really appreciate you honoring him today.
Good morning. You know, it takes 1 second. 1 second is all it takes to love and to laugh and to learn. And 1 second is all it took for me to know that this beautiful baby boy would change our hearts and our lives forever. We are so proud of you. And we are here today, of course, to celebrate your graduation and all the accomplishments that you made, but also to celebrate who you are and who you've become as a man. If each of these graduates will take a look around you, you're going to see a room full of people that love you and a room full of people that are here to support you. And my charge to each of you is to be that person for somebody else.
Yeah.
To be the person that is going to love and support someone else. And that others are going to be able to see Jesus in you. And you're going to hear 100 times to always put God first. And I hope that each and every time you hear it, that you heed that piece of advice. But I also pray that you're going to pray for discernment. One thing that I can promise you is that God is your strength and He is your provider, and that He's going to fight battles for you that you never even knew existed. Just always trust in Him. But the other thing that I can always promise you is that the devil is a liar, and that he is going to put roadblocks in front of you, and he's going to put stumbling blocks in your path every chance that he gets. Pray to see the truth. And it's not always easy, and there are going to be times that you fall. Just pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and start again. We are always told that everybody has a crossroads in their lives, and this is a crossroads. But for me, I don't see it as a crossroads, because it's more like a plate of spaghetti. There are so many noodles and every noodle is a different path that you can take. You have so many options and so many paths. But I pray that you pray for that discernment so that you'll know the path that God has for you. So that you're going to be able to weed out the obstacles and the roadblocks that the devil puts in your way. Because I promise you that God has a plan laid out for you. And that He knew you before you were ever born.
That's right.
He loved you before you were ever born. And that He has already provided for you every tool that you're ever going to need to face whatever obstacles that are going to be put in your path. Just pray, trust, and obey. Because God's plan is always to prosper you. And Ian, you've heard this 1,000,000 times from me, but this is going to be 1,000,001. From my first breath, from your first breath until my last, you're always going to be there.
God bless you.